Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, Chaos Kids. I'm Amber.
And I'm Naomi. And this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos.
We are serious journalists this episode for some reason.
Is that what it sounded like? Because
you sounded like Babu Wawa. And this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos.
Yeah. That was not my intention at all.
Oh, I loved it. I loved everything about
Let's put journalists in quotations, much like Barbara Rogers, who was a journalist before she became a prophet.
Oh, yay.
It's quotations
before she did
that.
The Lord's work.
Yes, Argon tiddlywinks. Okay. Hi.
Hi, sister.
How are you?
Oh my gosh. I am pretty good. I feel like I am in solidarity with you. I'm on day 3 of this new med that just makes me constantly nauseous.
Oh, I know that feeling. So, I'm on day like 39 or something of constantly feeling nauseous.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's the worst.
No, it sucks.
It's the fucking worst.
It really sucks.
My condolences. Yeah, so I got that going on. It's better today because I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, why do I have a glass of wine if that's the case? But the show must go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not even questioning that.
Podcasters don't get sick days.
No. We're like the postal service here.
What about you? What's new?
I mean, it's been a crazy long week. It's just a lot going on. I had one of those days where my left sock just wouldn't stay up and kept wanting to be gross. Halfway down my foot all day long. I was just fighting this fucking sock, That's
the grossest feeling.
I hate it so much. A bunched up sock. It just kept falling down. No matter what I did, no matter how tight I tied my shoes, it would not stay in place. And it was driving me crazy. And that's just really like a small but indicative detail of the day that I had today. So that's how I'm doing. I'm
sorry, sister.
I'm having shitty sock day. That's
oh, did those fuckers come off the second you walked in the door?
Oh yeah, they're gone now.
Yeah.
Those socks are gone
Oh,
now.
garbage.
Oh no,
they totally didn't make it.
It is a failure of a sock. Yes, the sock has failed at being a sock.
You had one job.
One job. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What? So you're drinking wine, even though you're nauseous. What are you drinking?
Well, listen. Well, here you could probably relate to this. All it takes is feeling a little bit less nauseous, and then you feel great.
Oh yeah, no. Like lower levels of nausea is like, oh, I'm fine now. I should eat something. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh my God. Well, let me tell you, I looked up the pronunciation and then recorded it. So let me tell you what I'm drinking. Hold on. Let's see if we can get this here.
Placer Andaluz.
Did you hear that? I did it proper. Placer Andaluz.
Nice.
It's also a red wine from Spain. Spain knows how to make a good red.
I mean, I'm getting that. You get a lot of wines from Spain.
I do. Apparently that's where it's at. All right. So that's all I got.
Okay. Well, great. Then let's dig in. How's that?
Okay.
I
hear you've got a doozy for me today.
Mean, I do. Sometimes, even though I'm like deep into the true crime, I listen to the podcast that I listen to. I don't listen to all of the podcasts, and I'm not on top of all of the things. So apparently this was made into some kind of dramatized film like last year, maybe. I didn't know, but I didn't know anything about this case. You might. So I apologize in advance for you or anyone else who's listening who already knows about this crazy case. I did not know about it. So this is news to me. And so we're going to go to Lubbock, Texas. I know we have some listeners there, by the way. I've seen you guys downloading there in Lubbock. So I don't know who's in Lubbock.
Thank you, Lubbock.
But thank you. Hello. You know this case for sure because this was a doozy. This is the story. This is the case of the suitcase killer. Do you know this one, Em?
Oh no. But I don't
No.
like the sound of that.
Yeah, you're not gonna like it.
Also, I just got a weird creepy vibe because we'll circle back to that. But
put a pin in it.
Huh?
Put a pin in it.
Much like the Katie Sharp case, there's another case that is one of those things that just it stuck with me.
Yes.
And it involves a suitcase, but I'm wondering if this is that one.
No.
And I was thinking about it this week, so it would just be weird
interesting, because I of course I also think of that crazy suitcase washed up on the beach at
it's not even that one.
West Seattle. Remember that?
When the people were playing Randonautica?
Yes.
I hate everything about that. It's
the
so
whole
fucking
thing.
spooky.
The whole thing. Okay, so it's not that.
Okay.
Suitcases come up a lot in murders.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy was dubbed the suitcase killer. So let's go to Lubbock, Texas. It's September 13th, 2005. Okay. A local landfill worker was going about his business, doing his job, when he came upon a suitcase that looked very out of place because it looked brand new in the landfill. When he opened the suitcase, he thought it was a prank at first.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's never a mannequin, right?
No.
Except apparently at the landfill, it is often a mannequin.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and that is what this worker thought it was at first. But upon closer inspection, he realized it was, in fact, the body of a woman. He went straight to his supervisor to report it. The supervisor called the police, and law enforcement quickly locked down the landfill to begin investigating the crime scene.
You know what? This is a thing that I've never thought about because landfills are regularly investigated I wonder how frequently those poor workers are like, well, we're on fucking lockdown again.
I know, right? Like, no, seriously.
God, this is the second case we've done where remains have been found. Poor landfill workers, leave them alone.
No.
God.
So the police didn't have a lot to go on. The woman wasn't wearing any clothes. And she had 2 small tattoos, one on her ankle and one on her wrist, that said Summer. Fingerprinting finally revealed the woman's identity. It was Summer Baldwin. During her autopsy, it was also discovered that she was about 10 weeks pregnant when she died.
Oh, Summer.
Now, the investigation turned to learning more about Summer so they could get an idea of who in her life would do this to her.
Mm-hmm.
Summer Baldwin was born in Washington State in August of 1976. So she was like 2 years older than me. She was raised in New Mexico, where her parents still lived at the time of her death. They were 170 miles from Lubbock in Roswell. Summer was described in every publication as a very happy person who always saw the positive side of any situation. As a young woman, Summer wanted to study cosmetology. In 2005, she had decided to strike out on her own in Lubbock. Her Aunt Terry lived there, so she wasn't just randomly going to Lubbock, right? And her Aunt Terry was super happy to support her in that move and like be her, her support person in Lubbock. So
she lived with her?
No, she wasn't living with her. Summer was also paying the bills as best she could by doing sex work. That's what I could gather.
Okay.
But it was only 3 or 4 days after she moved to West Texas to start this new chapter of her life that Summer vanished and was unable to be reached by her friends or family.
3 or 4 days is all?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Summer's parents and her Aunt Terry both pointed police in the direction of a friend, Margie Estrada. They really wanted to track down the father of Summer's unborn baby, obviously. Margie was absolutely distraught at the news of this tragic murder of her best friend, and the only name she had for police was Summer's ex-boyfriend, LaQuincy Freeman. And while people who knew the couple did say their relationship was tumultuous and prone to loud and aggressive arguments, no one had ever known their arguments to become violent. So police tracked this dude down and sit him down for questioning. And he was described as like strangely calm through the whole thing, and they kind of found that pretty sus. He claimed that he and Summer had broken up and moved on, and he had no idea what had happened to her.
Well, okay. I mean, you still fucking care, even though you broke up. You're
right?
not just
You'd
like,
think.
oh,
So
well,
of course, So of course the cops had nothing really on the guy, but they weren't ready to rule him out. So they asked him to take a polygraph, that pseudoscience nonsense machine.
Oh my God.
Whatever. He passed with flying colors.
Which means nothing, but good for him.
But okay. And as much as they didn't want to, they had to let him go.
Sure.
So now the case is stalling a bit. They aren't really sure where to go from here. But then Margie shows up and says, hey, I remembered something that I forgot before. Like, she was so distraught, she kind of forgot some stuff to tell them. She says that on the night of September 11th, so 2 days prior to Summer being found, she ran into Summer at a 7-Eleven, and Summer wasn't alone. She was with a man that Margie didn't know. She described him as a light-skinned Mexican man who was clean cut. And she saw Summer leave with this guy in what she assumed was his big red truck. The police go to the 7-Eleven and they get the CCTV footage, but they don't get anything showing that Summer was there that night. They do, however, see this truck pulling up to the store at 11:30 p.m. and they determine it is a Dodge Ram. But with nothing more to go on, they didn't have a way to track this guy down. So they turned to the only other evidence that they had, which was the suitcase. They could tell by how clean it was, despite having held a dead body and been tossed into a landfill, that it was probably pretty new. So new, in fact, that there was still a UPC sticker on the inside of it.
Like somebody purchased it for this?
Maybe.
Ugh.
Using that information, the police were able to determine that the retailer of the suitcase was, of course, Walmart. So there were, at that time, 2 Walmarts in Lubbock, and detectives headed to both of them to find out what they could about this suitcase. It turned out that in recent weeks, only 2 of them had been sold.
Oh, good.
One in the afternoon one day, and the other at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh, because that's when I go and get my suitcases. 3:00 in the morning.
Yep, gotta go get a new suitcase. Bye.
I just now thought about that. I need that right now.
Yep, right now.
Okay.
The afternoon shopper was investigated and easily cleared. The 3 a.m. shopper was found on CCTV, but the quality of the tape was shitty. I mean, it's 2005, and those CCTV cameras, it's always fucking crap, right?
It is.
So it got them very little. They could tell it was likely a Hispanic man with a high and tight haircut, but the purchase info got them nothing. But then this guy came back to Walmart and made another purchase that they saw him on camera buying. And that was a box of latex gloves.
Oh my God. This is another thing I think about often. If you're the cashier at Walmart at 3:00 in the morning and someone is on the conveyor belt is like gloves, duct tape, a shovel, aren't you just like, what the fuck?
Boopy doop boop 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 boop. Hello, police.
Yeah. Do you want to use your rewards points or save that for another time?
Seriously. So then they scour the footage of the CCTV footage of the parking lot. They wanted to tie this guy to a red Dodge Ram. And the first few times they had him on camera, he was like dragging the suitcase out and such. The truck wasn't identifiable, but then they got the moment that he pulled into the parking lot, and it was indeed a Dodge Ram, although they couldn't get a good look at the license plate. It's just like they're just eking out every little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So off to the bank for a search warrant on the debit card he used to make his purchases, which finally got them what they needed. Who the fuck this guy was. His name was Rosendo Rodriguez III.
There's 3 of these fuckers.
Yeah. Right.
Great.
Other bank records would also show that he made a purchase at that very 7-Eleven where Margie saw Summer on the 11th prior to her murder. And at the very least, they could put this guy in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually lived 400 miles away in San Antonio. He was in Lubbock because he was a reservist in the U.S. Marine Corps, and that's where he spent his 1 weekend a month for mandatory training.
Oh.
P.S. ACAB includes the military, BT dubs. Right. Police contacted the base and found out that Rodriguez didn't stay on base for his training weekends. He stayed at the Holiday Inn Civic Center location, which was directly across the street from that very 7-Eleven.
God, Jesus Christ.
He had already checked out of the hotel by the time police went looking for him there. A search of the room found bloodstains, a Walmart bag, and a pair of latex gloves.
This guy is fucking sloppy. I mean, I'm glad he is, but
no,
what a
but
dumbass.
Seriously, right? It was the last bit of evidence that they needed to go arrest this asshole. They also tracked his movements the night of Summer's murder with the key card. He arrived at his room at 12:30 a.m., half an hour after after Summer was seen with him at 7-Eleven. He also returned to his room at 3:50 a.m., about 20 minutes after buying the suitcase. He left and returned again later that morning and finished the day with a couple of combo number ones from Chick-fil-A and rented a movie in his hotel room.
Oh, figures this fucker eats at Chick-fil-A.
She eats at Chick-fil-A and just like rents a movie. I think it was a Star Wars movie. Just like.
Of course it was. This guy is such a fucking douche.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they tracked him down easily in San Antonio at his parents' house where he lived. He lived with his parents.
Of course.
And he didn't even seem surprised when they came for him.
Oh.
I mean, with the kind of evidence this guy was leaving behind, would you have been surprised? I mean.
No. Well, yeah, because he's probably one of those people that just thinks he's fucking above it all.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Untouchable.
Oh, for sure. So several items were taken from the house he shared with his parents, including his computer, his phone, a bus ticket receipt, a rental car agreement for a red pickup, and a green shirt that he had been seen wearing in the Walmart surveillance video.
Ah, so the truck was a rental. Okay.
He immediately asked for an attorney. On his computer, they found searches for Summer Baldwin and stories relating to her body's discovery in the landfill.
Oh my God.
About 2 weeks later, Rodriguez's attorney shows up with 2 knives supposedly belonging to Summer and said Rodriguez was ready to talk to police.
2 knives belonging to her? Okay.
And he was so full of shit.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
Okay, here's what he said that happened. Okay. He said that he and Summer had consensual sex, and then she pulled out a crack pipe or whatever, and he was not okay with that. And when he tried to take it away from her, she pulled out these 2 knives and came for him.
Sure.
So he put her in a chokehold out of self-defense, Amber.
Okay.
And he didn't realize that he had killed her. He says he's panicked and he didn't know what to do. So he bought a suitcase and shoved her dead body in it and tossed it into a dumpster.
I fucking hate this douche. I hate him. Okay. What the fuck?
He explained the blood stain in the hotel away by saying that Summer had had a bloody nose. You know, it's always like a bloody nose happened. That's always she had a nosebleed.
Yeah. God, I don't even have words. Keep going. I hate him.
Obviously, the medical examiner had a different take on what happened to Summer in that hotel room, and the evidence was crystal clear. Matt Powell, criminal DA in Lubbock County, did a write-up of this case because he prosecuted it. He said that he had a feeling that Rodriguez was also responsible for another missing girl.
Oh, shit.
Joanna Rogers. She had been missing for about 2 years when Summer was murdered. Joanna was 16 in May of 2004 when she went missing. She lived with her parents, Kathy and Joe Bill Rogers, in Lubbock. On May 3rd of that year, they kissed her goodnight and never saw her again.
What?
The next morning, Kathy went into Joanna's room to wake her up, and she was gone.
Oh my God.
Her favorite coat, her wallet, her car keys, and her phone were all in her room, and she was nowhere to be found.
What?
Yeah. Kathy and Joe Bill had no idea where she could have gone. Lubbock County sheriffs took this missing young girl's case seriously from the very start. They knew by the things left behind that Joanna had no intention of leaving for good.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteers and law enforcement spread out across the county, knocking on doors, mailing flyers, and taping posters on businesses. And over those 2 years, Joanna's parents made public pleas for information multiple times with no results.
I can't imagine as a parent waking up in the morning and your child is gone.
I know. It's
God.
like your worst nightmare, literally.
It is your worst nightmare, yeah. And the guilt of having slept through something, you know?
Right.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So Rodriguez's name did come up in the early days of the investigation into Joanna's disappearance because he had been in an online chat room with her, but there was nothing else there to tie him to her in any way. And he obviously hadn't been picked up as a murder suspect yet.
No.
But Powell was certain it was him. He just knew it. So he made
This guy's a grown-ass man in the military and he's in a chat room with a teenager?
Yeah.
Okay. He's just racking up the fucking shithead points.
Yep.
Okay.
So Powell makes a play to get this piece of shit to confess that he had something to do with Joanna's disappearance. And he offers him a deal that both Summer and Joanna's families agreed to. He would take the death penalty off the table and offer him life in prison instead if Rodriguez would just tell them where Joanna was.
Mm.
And Rodriguez agreed to this deal.
Wow.
And this is what he said.
Okay.
In the early morning hours of May 4th, 2004, he met with Joanna for consensual sex. But when she demanded money, he choked her to death. And then he went up to his room, grabbed a suitcase, put Joanna's body in it, and threw her in a dumpster.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Well, believe it or not, the landfill keeps pretty good records of where trash is taken. Detectives figured out which dumpster would have contained Joanna's body and then the approximate area of the landfill where that dumpster would have been emptied.
Oh, I hope they found her.
The problem was that we're talking about an area several football fields in length with 2 years worth of garbage stacked over it. Searching for
Gross.
Joanna's body was like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff David Gutierrez, along with Pam Alexander, a victim advocate, secured a grant from the governor's office for $100,000 to help with the cost of searching the landfill. 2 months into the search, the grant money was running out and they were in the last pocket of landfill they had to go through. In fact, the search was very close to being called off. And then they found the needle in the haystack.
Shut up. Oh my God, I just got chills. Oh my God.
Yep. Another black suitcase that contained a girl with beautiful red hair, Joanna Rogers.
Oh, I'm so glad they found her.
904 days since she had gone missing, Joanna was returned to Kathy and Joe Bill.
Oh, fuck. Wow.
The day came for the plea deal to be signed, and Rodriguez said he didn't understand what was going on and he wasn't going to take the plea.
You fucker.
Powell was actually fine with that. He had found,
good.
Yeah, well, he had found Joanna and he had this asshole's confession to killing her. So he pulled the plea and went to trial and sought the death penalty.
Wow. This guy is good. Good.
It was basically impossible to seat a jury in Lubbock at this point. Everyone had made up their mind about this guy. So they moved the trial to Randall County, which is about 2 hours north of Lubbock near Amarillo.
This perplexes me, even as somebody who works in or used to work in this field. When something has made national news, like what's the point of like filing for a change of venue?
I mean,
I can't go 10 miles down the road and not have people have opinions there.
I mean, they went close to 200. And I think I don't know how national it was at that point, but like in Lubbock, it's like those were their girls,
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true. Mm-hmm.
So Rodriguez was indicted on murder during a course of sexual assault, as well as the murder of 2 or more individuals, naming the unborn child as a victim as well.
Good.
One of the main issues the prosecution had to deal with was convincing a jury that a sex worker can be sexually assaulted.
Oh, of course they can. What the fuck?
I mean, Texas.
It's what, 2007 now or something like that?
I'm not sure when the trial actually went down.
Well,
Also, they had to convince him that Rodriguez didn't have to know that Summer was pregnant to convict him of murdering the unborn fetus. And they also had to deal with the self-defense claim, right? Like that was the other.
okay.
Yeah. So to prove the sexual assault, they relied on the physical evidence and the pathologist's testimony. Okay. This is the trigger warning.
Okay.
Summer had more than 70 blunt force injuries on her body, blows to her back, stomach, legs, face, and head. She had deep blunt force injuries in multiple areas consistent with sexual assault.
Oh.
She had suffered severe enough injuries to lose consciousness, but no specific injury that would have caused her death. This fact led the pathologist to the conclusion that because of the way Summer was stuffed in the suitcase, she died of positional asphyxiation.
Shit.
So Summer was alive when she was put in the suitcase.
God, that's awful. That is awful.
And it was the first time the jury heard this bit of horror. And based on their reactions, it was the first time Rodriguez and his attorneys had heard it as well.
Holy shit.
And obviously, this testimony destroyed the self-defense claim, especially because Rodriguez had only one small scratch on his entire body.
Well, no shit. And obviously, she sounds pretty tiny if she's in a suitcase and he's a Marine. What the fuck are you talking about? Self-defense, you
right?
Piece of shit.
Seriously.
God.
The prosecution relied on the definition of individual from the penal code, which includes a, quote, unborn child at every stage of gestation from fertilization until birth, as well as a couple of cases on transferred intent to prove his guilt in the death of Summer's unborn baby. Multiple women came forward during the preparation for trial with their own stories of violent sexual assault by Rodriguez.
Wow.
This included his first high school girlfriend and 4 other women during his time at Texas Tech. None of these rapes had been reported to law enforcement. Rodriguez's friends also testified that he didn't have any problems getting women and that he described sex as a handshake.
Okay. Wow. This guy sucks.
Oh, no, he sucks big time. They also said he bragged about having sex workers, like having sex with sex workers and killing kids in Iraq with the Marine Corps.
I can't.
Side note,
fucking can't.
He never went to Iraq or anywhere in his time in the reserves.
Oh.
But he's bragging about killing kids.
That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, how does this piece of shit even have friends?
What is the vetting process for being in the military?
Ugh,
is there one?
Not really.
Don't get me started.
ACAB includes military. Remember that. If there were any doubt in the jurors' minds that Rodriguez was a predator and a danger to women, that was all removed by the testimony of these brave survivors.
Good.
The rape victims told basically the same story. Rodriguez would use his charm and looks to get them to have sex with him. The sex would quickly turn violent, and each victim testified that Rodriguez would continue to rape them while they fought and begged him to stop. None of them ever filed a report because they were terrified of him.
No shit.
He had a great ability to pick, quote, perfect victims who would not report his crimes.
Wow.
Except for one victim who told a very different story. She was working 3 jobs and living at home while she attended Texas Tech. She decided during her senior year that she needed to experience some of the fun aspects of college, so she joined the Chi Rho fraternity where she met Rodriguez. She was very naive, and she quickly fell in love with him. He had said and done all the right things. He even asked her father for permission to date her. Fucking gross.
Mm-hmm.
She figured out Rodriguez was cheating on her, so she went to his apartment to confront him and break up with him. And he sexually assaulted her on his couch, which was her first ever sexual experience.
Oh, no. Good God.
And then he walked her to her car, patted her on the head, and told her she would be all right.
I hate this what breed of human is this?
Right? She told the courtroom that the trip home was the longest 30-minute drive of her life. She went in the house, told her parents goodnight like she always did, then went upstairs to her room where she lay in her closet, curled up in the fetal position, and cried herself to sleep.
Oh.
Rodriguez's confession to Joanna's murder was unusable during the trial. The law says that even though he backed out of the plea, it was still inadmissible because it wasn't voluntary, since it was because of a plea agreement.
Okay. Okay. It's pretty
Texas.
fucked up, but yeah.
The defense tried to keep him from being put to death, of course. That's their job. They put on multiple family members who described Rodriguez as very loving, caring, and intelligent. Rodriguez's aunt recalled during her testimony that Rodriguez had announced to the family at the age of 14 that he would one day be the first Latino president of the United States.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. His mother said she remembered how respectful of a child he was. She also talked about Rodriguez's own son, her grandson, claiming how much Rodriguez loved his son, even though he rarely ever saw him. Somewhere I read it was like he'd been in the same room at the same time as his son, like 3 times in his son's whole life.
Oh, okay. Okay. This mother, my baby boy is wonderful.
Yeah. This testimony from his mother was the first thing during the entire proceedings that seemed to actually distress Rodriguez, and he stood up and called out to his mother before being restrained by bailiffs.
Oh my God.
What is happening?
I don't know.
So
they probably still snuggle in bed.
Oh my God. Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Family also said he had a pretty good home life growing up, but it did include a drunk, abusive father who beat all the kids and their mother.
Oh, and that's what we're calling a pretty good home life?
Mm-hmm. This is the same father who had been a defense attorney for 20 plus years and was in the courtroom all week holding hands and hugging all these people who hated him so much, including his wife of 36 years. So like, who the fuck knows?
Okay, great.
Right. In the write-up of Powell, that Powell did, that I got some, like a lot of this info from, he said this of his closing argument, quote, "I remember everyone not wanting to touch the suitcase because of how dirty it was and where it had been, but I grabbed it and talked about us being afraid to get our hands or suits dirty, and that this suitcase was meant to be the final resting place for Summer Baldwin. I ended my argument by placing 3 roses on Summer's coffin, the suitcase. One was for Summer, one for her child, and one for a victim the jury never got to hear about, Joanna. Most of the jury was crying, which was more emotion than the defendant ever showed."
Mm-hmm.
The jury was out for 2.5, 3 hours before returning a verdict of guilty on both counts.
Wow, good.
Rosendo Rodriguez III was sentenced to death. He had many appeals, of course, and sat on death row for many years. In February of 2018, 1 month before the finalized date of his execution, Rodriguez asked for a stay of execution, citing supposed evidence that the medical examiner may not have performed the autopsy after Summer's death. The claim originated during a 2015 lawsuit in which the medical examiner was accused of routinely leaving the examiner's office to take care of his own personal medical practice, and that he regularly delegated the examinations to his senior forensic nurse. Note, there's no coroner in here, so there's still actual medical people. So I just want to
say, so far, I'm perfectly comfortable with delegating.
I mean, a forensic nurse sounds like a really hardcore fucking nurse, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, is this the medical examiner's version of like a nurse practitioner?
Yeah.
Right?
Better than the fucking coroner, apparently.
Way better than a coroner. So the case accused the doctor of not even performing his own claimed autopsies in some cases. And eventually the case was settled for $200,000. But DA Powell said that there was no information contained in the suit that related to Rodriguez's case. So,
yeah, doesn't mean that he took a phone call while he was doing that particular autopsy.
right?
Mhm.
Oh, something's not right here. Okay. So during his years on death row, Rodriguez was featured on a blog called Minutes to Six, which shared art, poetry, and articles from inmates. Rodriguez's pieces titled A Tale of Two Prisons, Retribution versus Rehabilitation, and What America Can Learn from Germany. And it talks at length about the differences between the American and Germanic prison systems. He details how the prison system of Germany focuses on the humans imprisoned and their rights and well-being versus the American prisons, which Rodriguez said is vengeful and punitive. He pointed to the 1944 crime bill, which allowed and encouraged states to create more laws to increase the number of prisoners, bringing in more income for the state and providing economic boosts for many small towns where prisons are the major source of jobs. And I mean, look,
He's
he's not wrong.
Mm-mm.
He's not wrong.
Mm-mm. No.
No. Yeah. Rosendo Rodriguez III's final appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court was denied minutes before his execution, and he was put to death by lethal injection on March 27th, 2018, the day after his 38th birthday. He spoke for 7 minutes, quoted the Bible about fighting the good fight, and called for a boycott of all Texas businesses to get them to join the cause against capital punishment.
Wow.
And that is the case of the Suitcase killer.
Fuck, sister. Yeah, I have not heard of that.
Yeah, apparently there was like a, I don't know if it was like on Hulu or something. I think it was one of the streaming services. I don't know. Or like maybe ID. I can't remember. It was ID or Hulu, right? Like one of those, they did like a dramatization of this case. I think it was last year or a year and a half ago, maybe 2021. It might've been 2021. I didn't watch it. I didn't really look into it. You know, it's always like based on a true story. Like who even knows, you know, like
who even knows?
Who even knows? So yeah, I had never heard of it either.
Wow. Ugh. What a piece of shit.
I mean, such a piece of shit. And like, I still don't agree with the death penalty.
No.
Like he should have just had life in prison. Like,
yeah.
But
the thing that I was noticing too, and you see this so much, this weird like moral compass that people have, even though they're murderers. Like he wanted to make it very clear that it was consensual sex.
Yes.
He had some moral issue with the crack smoking that for sure didn't happen. And also he's there because he's hired a sex worker. But then you put like your moral stamp on things, even though it's so weird.
It's so weird. I mean, that's like Gary Ridgway, right? Remember his whole thing was like, oh, I'm doing everyone a favor because I'm killing sex workers, right? Like they're I'm cleaning up the streets or whatever. Like he's some sort of fucking, you know, vigilante.
Well, and I can't remember if it was him or Bundy or both that like, despite the evidence, like refused to admit to necrophilia because that's like embarrassing and gross.
Right.
And it's like, really, like at this point, like
why
you feel shame about that?
Yeah, totally. Right. Like this guy Rodriguez did. It was always consensual. Right. Well, first of all, can you have consensual sex with a 16-year-old when you're like a grown fucking man?
No.
Right. So like with Joanna, it's like, that's sus right out the gate.
Yeah. Did he ever give any information about how they met up? Did she sneak out to meet him because they had been chatting online? Or?
I could not find anything about that, but that's kind of what I'm assuming, right? Yeah, like I feel like that's probably what happened. Like she was probably talking to him in a chat room. He probably told her he would pay her.
Probably, yeah.
Right?
I don't know. That shit scares me. God.
I know.
Well, thank you for that. That was fucking terrible.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Now you know what I know.
Thank you. And now I can't unknow
Nope.
it.
Now you know it. Well, you know what? I could use some chaos. Could you
Okay,
give
great.
me
I've
some
got
chaos?
that for you.
Okay, great.
I've got some chaos. I'm
I
going to tell
love it.
you a little tale about the Kuykendall family.
The Kuykendall family.
I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Kuykendall, Kuykendall.
I mean, it's as good a pronunciation as any.
It's as good as pronunciation as my wine.
You did a top-notch job on the wine pronunciation
Thank you.
today. I'm really proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you. I had a little study hall session before this.
Good.
Okay, so it's 2007 and we are in Fircrest, Washington.
Fircrest, Washington. Where is that?
Mm-hmm. It's a small town outside of Tacoma.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not too far from here. That's like an hour away.
Not too far from here.
Yeah.
No. And 16-year-old Courtney Kuykendall started getting text messages from her friends that were like, why did you just text me that? What are you talking about? Things like that, right?
Okay.
And Courtney has no idea what they're talking about. And so when she gets to school, her friends show her these text messages that came from her phone. And it would just be one word text that said like gay.
What?
So Courtney thought that was really weird. And she was like, I didn't send that. That's fucking weird. But she didn't think much of it and went about her day. But her phone would continue to send derogatory one-word text messages.
But she didn't have a record of it on her phone.
No. Not too long later, a few of Courtney's friends and her family all started getting threatening text messages and phone calls from a number that just said restricted.
Fuck a restricted number, man. Fuck that.
I know.
Look, if your number is not programmed in my phone, like even if your number is programmed in my phone, I might not answer if you call me. But if it's not, if it's an unknown, restricted number I don't recognize, it is not in my phone. Like that is what fucking voicemail is for.
Yep, it's going to voicemail. Sorry about it.
Yep.
This is 2007 though, so restricted. So restricted, which is what they started calling this person, would threaten to kill or rape whoever they were talking to.
Oh my God. Wait, the people were answering it?
Yeah. And it was like this raspy voice of like, I know.
Like Marge Simpson's sister?
Sort of, only like a teenage boy that smoked 2 packs a day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, they would threaten to kill whoever they got on their phone. They would threaten to attack the school, kill their pets. And the messages were coming in around the clock. And they were starting to come in to the family's landline and to all of their individual phones.
And the friends.
Yep.
So basically anyone that what's her first name again?
Courtney.
Anyone that Courtney had a phone number for in her phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody dummied her, like copied her phone somehow, her SIM card or whatever.
Well, possibly. So
okay.
The family gets so frustrated that they all got new phones and changed their numbers. They would even turn their cell phones off, but nothing seemed to help. The calls and messages just kept coming in.
Okay.
At one point, they received a message from Restricted telling them to stop buying new phones and changing their wireless carriers.
Creepy.
I hate it. I hate it.
Oh my God. No.
Uh-huh. The family members would turn their phones off and they would turn back on by themselves.
What? Okay, now, what the fuck?
I don't know.
No. Now we're getting into like ghosty territory. Like
ghosty.
Ghost in the machine.
Now it's ghosty.
I don't like it.
I don't fucking like it either. I hate it. And Courtney's phone would send messages when her phone was turned off.
But she still had no record of her phone sending these messages.
Right. So they finally go to the police, and the police are able to trace all of these calls and messages back to Courtney's number. And Courtney's like, I'm not fucking doing this. So Restricted seems to know that the family had gone to the police because one of the calls that came in said, "You will be dead, even the officers."
My God. Oh, okay.
You can listen to these messages online too. The raspy. Yes, they're out there. It's creepy.
Oh my God. Okay.
One of the times that they had gone to the police and spoken with the detective, they returned home to a voicemail on their landline. And when they played the voicemail, it was a recording of the conversation that the family just had with the detectives.
What?
Mm-hmm. It's fucking spooky.
I do not like this, sister.
I don't like it either. Our phones have always listened to us, even since 2007. So,
oh my God.
The parents started to think that maybe Courtney was behind all of this.
Oh no.
So they just take her phone away altogether.
Just okay.
And lock it up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't help anything.
Nope. The calls and the messages kept coming in.
Well, at least it cleared Courtney's good name.
I mean, poor Courtney. I don't know. So
how long has this been going on at this point?
Months.
Oh
also, like when you're 16, having your phone taken away or even having to change your phone number is like social suicide.
No, totally.
Like, why would she do that?
No, totally. You know? And also, like, why would she do it anyway? Why would she be doing this?
Initially a prank call, I could see, but this is out of control.
This is an obsession.
Uh-huh.
This is a creepy fucking loser with no fucking life in full-blown obsession.
So, before long, the family realized that Restricted could not only hear them, but he could also see them.
What?
So, yeah.
Okay.
They installed a home security system, and right after the installation, Restricted called and said that they knew the passcode and rattled off the passcode.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. He would call and make comments about what the family members were wearing.
Okay, this is a horror movie.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yes. Which is like, I keep using that. This is a horror movie.
Horror. So one of the other families that were victimized were the McKays, and these were neighbors. And one day, while Andrea McKay was in her kitchen cutting limes, Restricted sent a text that read, "I prefer lemons."
What?
I hate it so much.
God, what is happening right now?
I don't know.
Oh my God. Uh-huh. Oh my God. No, this is literally like who wrote this script? This is this is not real life. This is like a bad Netflix horror film.
Horror. Another neighbor, Darcy Price, received a call stating that there would be a shooting at her kid's school that day. Oh, he even named the school and said, "Don't send your kids today."
Oh my God.
Courtney's dad, Tim, said that he would find pictures on his phone that he didn't take. And it would be pictures of them inside their home, like the family just going about their regular business.
But it would just be in his phone? It wouldn't be a text to him? It would
be in his photo gallery.
What the fuck? Okay, this is... I cannot. Oh my God, Amber, make it stop.
I can't.
Oh my God.
So the police are skeptical of the family's allegations.
What?
But yeah, even though they're showing them all of this.
But the neighbors and the other friends and the...
Yeah, I think they just...
Well, I mean, police don't want to do their job. I mean, this is, what are they going to do? They can't, the police don't help us. Okay, keep going.
So the police reached out to Sprint, and somebody from Sprint said, "We are unaware of any technology that would allow the activity that's being reported here." However, James Atkinson, an electronic surveillance expert, said you can take photographs remotely, you can track the person's position, you can figure out where their phone is. He said most cops have no idea how this is done.
Well, what was this was like 2007. So they were
Yes.
still like baby days of like figuring out cell phone technology. Like cops did not have full on like cyber units still at that point. I think like, yeah. And they're always in the police department. They're always playing catch up when it comes to tech. Always.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're always way behind. Yeah.
What's his face from Moscow? That was what he wanted to do as an intern, was like forensic tech.
Oh,
Like,
that piece of shit that fucking
help.
murdered four people in their sleep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Fir-Crest police reach out to Tacoma PD for assistance, and Tacoma PD is stumped. And this eventually gets escalated to the FBI and Homeland Security.
Whoa. Well, yeah, because now we're talking about somebody. I mean, and again, this is 2007. This isn't like I hacked your Apple account and I've like grabbed your, like I can go into your photos. Like this is like 2007. This is like tracking people, like fucking with their phones remotely. Like, this is like, we need to get this person because they're dangerous.
Yeah, it's fucking spooky.
So spooky.
So this was 2007. Smartphones were pretty new, but they did make an assessment that whoever was doing this was someone who was close to the family in some way because they knew a lot about them. But Courtney's mom, Heather, said she couldn't think of anyone who would want to do this to them. They didn't have any enemies. They didn't. And the weird thing is, like, scratchy voice sounds like a teenager, but this is like pretty sophisticated for a teenager.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Does Courtney have a brother?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was like, it's, again, the call is coming from inside the house. I'm like, is it the brother just being a fucking douchebag?
It's filed with FBI and Homeland Security, and the brother's just like, ruh-roh. He's just joking.
Just joshing ya. JK.
Yeah. So according to Computer World, control over a cell phone can come about only in one of three ways: either installing software with physical access to the phone, using a downloadable Trojan, or hacking the carrier's website for phones that rely on the internet to store account settings.
Right.
If some hackers were able to do this, it might explain some of these events, such as changing the ringtones and the spoofed calls, but not the others, like the pictures showing up on Dad's phone.
Right.
So FBI and Homeland Security dwindled it down to four possibilities. The first is that Courtney is doing this and that it's a hoax.
Which, no, that's not what's happening.
The second is that someone is stealing and using their phones, which...
No, that's not what's happening.
Yep. The third is that her phone has been cloned.
Yep, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And the fourth is that her number is being spoofed.
What's the difference?
I guess spoofed is someone is calling from another phone, but making it appear as if the calls are coming.
Oh, right. It's like a VPN situation. It's like
yes. Yeah, but they said that spoofing is the easiest thing to do, but it doesn't explain the things like when they obviously had access to the cell phone's microphone and played back what they were talking about.
Right. And then that's also the photos that landed on her dad's phone. Like that wouldn't be.
Nope.
That's weird.
So this is a very anticlimactic conclusion. The conclusion was that this whole thing was a hoax and they don't know how she pulled it off. Case closed. That was it. There was never, no, I know, sorry. There was no resolution. There was no resolution.
There's no way Courtney just hoaxed all this shit.
No, fuck no.
They took her phone away and the shit kept happening.
They had text messages coming in while they were at the police department and Courtney's phone was off.
They just closed the case and walked away and said, "Oh, it's just a hoax."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
That is spooky.
I don't like it. Did it stop?
Yeah, I think it eventually stopped.
This fucking psycho went on to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
To someone else.
Yeah. Fucking spooky AF.
I hate it.
I'm sorry. I hate it too.
so much. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds it tangentially, but it reminds me of, remember, like, I want to say a few years ago, I can't remember. It might have been like early days of 2020, like during the dark times of lockdown and stuff like that. There was this like ongoing issue down. It was like in Lacey or Tacoma, Olympia, or maybe like the Olympia area. There was like this series of like cats that were being found like horribly murdered.
Oh no.
Yeah, like skinned and
what the fuck?
Yeah, like
I've
really
not
bad,
heard
like
of this.
eviscerated. Yeah, it was like this. Right, of course. You didn't hear about it. It was like people were like spreading it. It was like going around on Facebook, like these little like, local news blips, like, but it was going on for a while. Like there was like many, like I want to say like a good 4 or 5 cats in like a very specific area were found. And it's like, this is the first stage in like the making of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Literally textbook.
Yes.
And nothing was being done about it.
Wow.
Like no one was hunting this person down to figure out who the fuck was doing this to these cats. That's how I feel about this story. Like this person, whoever was doing this, is dangerous. They're not well. And they have know-how and skill that makes them capable of who knows what they're fucking capable of.
Yeah, that's like Unabomber shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like some real antisocial behavior.
The I prefer lemons fucking creeped me out.
The what?
The woman that was cutting limes in her kitchen.
Yes.
And I prefer lemons.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I fucking hate it.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for that.
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't really lift the mood, did I?
No, you really didn't.
Okay. Well.
I
don't know what to tell you.
All right.
Check us out on all the socials, all the things. I mean, there's really no way to pivot from that. I just got it like a Band-Aid.
Just rip it off.
Yeah.
We're on the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitters. We have a website, crimewineandchaos.com. You can send Amber love letters. You can send me hate mail, but they have to go to the same account. It is crimewineandchaos@gmail.com. You can follow me on the Twitters @misnomers. And Amber's in a band because she's a fucking rock star. It's Tinfoil Tot Hat. They're on all the things.
All the things.
All the things.
And if you're in the Seattle area, come to the Blue Moon on February 21st. We'll be playing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Might be one of the oldest bars still standing in Seattle.
That's
awesome. Dad
awesome.
used to go to the Blue Moon after.
Of course he did.
After work when he was 21.
Oh, Dad.
Cool little spot.
Yeah, super cool spot.
Sister,
that's awesome.
Well,
that's awesome.
Shit, I fucking love you.
I love you too. Even when you tell me horrible stories.
Same.
Yeah, and that was really fucking chaotic.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Paul Abner. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/crime, wine, and chaos. Cheers.
We're like the postal service here, fighting this fucking suck.